didn't like this name Mufi. I used to tell my mother, Maka, nga kilingolea. And I didn't particularly like my middle name, Francis. Because every Francis that I knew growing up in Kalihi was a girl.
Mufi Francis Hannemann was named after his maternal grandfather, High Chief Soliai Pinamua Mufi.
Wasn't until I went to Harvard University, went to the Widener Library, opened up the books on the history of Samoa, and there I saw a copy of the Treaty of the Deed of Cession. And lo and behold, there was my great-grandfather, who had the wisdom to affix his signature on the Deed of Cession that ceded and made Tutuila and eventually Manua part of the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. And I remember running back to my dorm, picking up the phone, and calling my mother in Kalihi. My mom picked up the phone. I said, Mama, now I know why you gave me that name. It's what I'm all about. It's making sure that great-grandfather's name lives on in one of us, because he was a great man. And so while others may be named John and Robert and Tom and Steve and Dick, I have the name of Mufi.
Mufi, the sixth of Gustav and Fayaso's children, grew up in Kalihi and attended public schools. He quickly distinguished himself as a dedicated and talented student and earned a scholarship to Iolani School. At Iolani, he became a popular scholar-athlete who was accepted by colleges in the Ivy League and Stanford. Mufi chose Harvard to fulfill his mother's dream and graduated cum laude in 1976. Governor George Ariyoshi gave him an opportunity to fulfill his parents' desire to give back to the community by appointing him as his special assistant in 1979. This led to a later appointment as an assistant with the U.S. Department of the Interior during the Carter administration. In 1983, he was awarded a coveted White House fellowship under President Reagan, where he worked for Vice President George Herbert Walker Bush. Governor John Waihee appointed Hannemann director of the Office of International Relations, and later as his director of the Department of Business, Economic Development, and Tourism. On one of his many trips to Washington, D.C., Mufi met his future wife, Gail Akiko Mukaihata. They married on August 15, 1992, and returned to Hawaii. Mufi campaigned successfully in 1994 for a seat on the Honolulu City Council, representing his home district of Aiea Pearl City. Shortly after re-election to his second term, he became chairman of the City Council. In 2004, he was ready once again to set his sights on Honolulu Hale and became mayor of the city and county of Honolulu. Mufi Hannemann was sworn in as Honolulu's 12th mayor and first native-born mayor in almost 40 years. In 2008, Mayor Hannemann was easily re-elected to his second term, earning an 80% approval rating. After serving the community in a very public life, most people feel that they know Mufi Hannemann. But there is a lot more to the man that is reported in the papers and television news.
Like a tale with a happy ending, like a harmony's perfect blending. Life is so peaceful here with all of you.
He has a consistent and quiet dedication to those core principles learned from his parents that have shaped the very fabric of his life into a pattern of meaningful traditions. In January of every year, Hannemann and his wife Gail quietly convene a non-denominational New Year's prayer service at Kawaiahao Church. It is attended by ministers of various faiths, his family, cabinet members, staff, and the general public. Hannemann quietly and humbly asks for the guidance of Ke'okua for his administration in the following year. It's a simple and personal act of faith that impresses even the most cynical among us, and reassures all of us that the man at the helm of our city is well-grounded with a functioning moral compass. This is the 4th year that Hannemann will lead the Mayor's Remembrance Walk in honor of the events of 9/11. It is also for recognition of the sacrifices and dedication of Honolulu's family of first responders and our military services who protect our community every day. Another annual ritual that reflects both the value of education and commitment to giving back that his parents emphasized is Hannemann's college scholarships. For the past 15 years, Mufi has awarded scholarships out of his own pocket to deserving high school graduates. Also, since leaving Harvard, he has presented nearly 24 Harvard Book Prizes to the top juniors in schools across the state. The 21st century Ahupua'a is how Hannemann describes the city's award-winning efforts involving conservation, alternative energy use, and sustainability. In an act of respect for the wisdom of Polynesian cultural practices, Hannemann has founded the 21st century Ahupua'a Youth Ambassadors for high school-age kids so they can participate in creating a more sustainable and self-sufficient future for our island home. In yet one more example of Mufi Hannemann's success in passing on his passion for community service and his own personal learning experience is the Pacific Century Fellows Program.
You know, I look at my classmates in Pacific Century Fellows as well as those from other classes, and they're all the pillars of our community. They're committed to public service, committed to their families, and committed to the future of Hawaii. And a lot of that is due to the leadership, the commitment, and a positive role model that Mayor Mufi has set for a lot of us.
As a believer in equity and opportunity, Hannemann created the Mufi Hannemann Basketball Jamboree in 1994 to showcase girls' hoops at the high school level and has sponsored and organized it every year since.
Mayor Hannemann has been an advocate for youth and sports over the past 17 years. And the great thing about the Jamboree, it's a day where female athletes come together and play basketball, and a great opportunity to showcase the local talent that Mayor Hannemann is always proud about, that local kids can compete at every level.
Hannemann always finds the time to reach out to young people and help teach the value of team play. Another event that has become a regular feature of Mayor Hannemann's calendar is the monthly ceremony for the installation of newly naturalized U.S. citizens. The mayor personally welcomes the new American citizens to the city and relates the history and experiences of his own family.
As a son of immigrants, I know all too well how my father felt when he became a citizen.
There is an immediate connection established when the audience realizes this accomplished Harvard graduate and mayor of the 12th largest municipality in America is only one generation away from his own immigrant parents. His story is their story.
Never forget where you came from, but most importantly, enjoy what we all enjoy here, and that is to be the citizen of the greatest country of the world, the greatest state in America, and the greatest city in the world.
Hannemann lives and governs by a list of precepts he calls Mufi's maxims. One is, leave this a better place than you found it. It's a value he learned from his parents, an admonition he makes to his cabinet, and a philosophy that guides his thoughts and deeds. When he tells America's newest citizens what is possible with the values of family, faith, education, giving back to the community, and pride in their cultural heritage, they believe him because they know he lives his values and that he will leave this a better place than he found it.